All right, welcome back into our quick slant segment. It is quick. Everybody gets about 30 seconds to say whatever the heck you want to say, unless it's something mean to me, and then I'll dock your pay. Bob, we'll start with you and work our way down.
Okay, start off with something about the SEC. I think last year people were talking about the SEC just wasn't as good as it used to be, and I thought that was kind of bullcrap. You can say it this year and get away with it. I do think that the SEC this year is looking like it's showing some chinks in its armor, and it doesn't seem to be as good top to bottom. And I think the middle might be actually where it's got the weakest, because you're seeing some teams that are usually pretty good that are struggling right now.
All right. Jimmy Hyams.
If Missouri wins the East Division, shame on you, Tennessee. Shame on you, Georgia. Shame on you, Florida. I don't know about shame on you, South Carolina, because you may not be good enough to do anything about it. Missouri's just not very good. I mean, and I know last year they lost to Indiana. They got beat 34-0 by Georgia, but the quarterback's struggling. The receivers aren't very good. The running back's out. They beat Connecticut 9-6 and needed an interception on a fake field goal to do it. If they three-peat, shame on the rest of the East Division.
All right. Will Overstreet.
ESPN. You bought the SEC network and you have 3 alternative channels. And instead of putting the Tennessee game on one of the other 2 that was not being used, you decided to go with ESPNU or send me to their app. I'm not buying ESPNU, and I'm not buying your app. Stop it.
Sounded like a man who had to go out and watch the game somewhere last night.
Yeah, and one we see like the last 2 minutes of Virginia Tech beating Purdue.
Exactly.
And we're watching it, and an announcer says, some people call this garbage time.
Chuck.
Turmoil in Tuscaloosa. Is Lane Kiffin going to survive the season as offensive coordinator, because that friction is spilling over with the great Nick Saban? Alabama lost to Ole Miss for the 2nd time, 2 straight times. Last year, this time in Tuscaloosa. There's problems there. I don't see Kiffin surviving this season as the offensive coordinator of the Tide.
You think he'll be fired before the season ends?
Well, you watch and see what happens. You watch and see
If
what
he fires
happens.
Kiffin, might as well fire Kirby Smart.
Yeah, because he scored 37 points yesterday.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. But all right, here's my quick slant, and it's people are going to say, well, no kidding. But here's some numbers to back up the no kidding. People say Dobbs isn't accurate. Actually, he is pretty accurate. It's just short stuff. Look at him versus T. Martin and Peyton Manning, and they had huge numbers. They played a bit longer, but the completion percentage, 61% for Dobbs. T. Martin was only 55% complete. And you take that one South Carolina game he played out of his mind out of that. He was very erratic as a passer. Peyton Manning was only at 62.5 for his career. Now, the touchdowns to interceptions much better, but that last line over on the right, 6.4 yards per attempt for Dobbs in his career. 7.8 for Martin, 8.1 for Manning. All these people are saying Dobbs is erratic, Dobbs isn't accurate, Dobbs isn't consistent. Fine. T. Martin wasn't either, but T. Martin could complete 1 or 2 deep balls per game. He could hit the 1 or 2 bombs that kept the defense honest. I was really surprised yesterday, and maybe it's because guys weren't getting open, but I expected Tennessee to come out there yesterday and let Dobbs throw deep and throw deep and throw deep to get it on film and to show teams that, yes, it's Western Carolina, but we can do this, we can go deep. I didn't see a lot of that. There was one pass that he threw that was beautiful, but the defender interfered on it. They got a flag. But in terms of moving forward, it's not really his accuracy. It's just where he's throwing it. He has to develop a deep ball at some point just to keep defenses honest. Crazy?
No, I don't think it's crazy.
Obvious.
But I go back to what you said earlier in the show. The look, check down. Is it on Dobbs, or it is on his receivers that they're not going deep more?
And sometimes he's just having to get rid of it.
T. Martin had Peerless Price.
Right.
That's another good and a better offensive line.
Yes, and there's not a Peerless Price unless it's Preston Williams, at least from what I've seen so
And
far.
Georgia's Grayson Lambert broke T. Martin's completion percentage record yesterday by going 24-25, including 20 in a row.
Against what team?
South Carolina, the same
There
team.
you go.
T. Martin said it. It's the same program.
Every 17 years or so, South Carolina do. All right. When we come back, the records on our Chuck versus Pearl thing aren't looking pretty. I don't think many people are going to be going with Sterling anymore. We'll discuss coming back on the Sports Source.